Edward here from the infamous crypto viewing group. As usual, I'll start here with a little plug for my pals here, my buddies at the crypto viewing group, where we do a lot of remote viewing, very important stuff. We just put out the remote viewing we did for Hyperledger. Holy moly, was that good. Look at that. Me and Dan Smith hits. Weekly stuff. There's so much stuff on here. Totally worth it. I'll have the link below. Check it out. Plug for my buddies Dick Allgaier, Dan Smith, buddies Dennis, Ed, Rose, everybody on the back end too. Those are our pals. We do great stuff here. Very important work, and my God, it just keeps getting more intense. More intense. Okay. A plug for the dudes there. Now, this is going to be session 1 and 2 for the Pando session. So what this was, in between projects that I do with crypto viewing, and we do a lot of remote viewing. But in my little moments of downtime, I have to go, well, if I have a day or two, a couple of days, I want to take a vacation, and I do that with this crazy little thing we call remote viewing. And so I'll send my buddy Dustin a text, and which I did. Got any targets in mind? I need to take a vacation. And I wait, and then he responds back, oh yeah, I got one in mind. I'll send you a reference number. So this one he sent this to me in the middle of September. So I started this a couple of months ago and worked off and on this project, and just finished it like a week or so ago, week and a half, something like that. Just finished the final session, and then was sent the feedback, the tasking, and the target was this tree. It's called the Pando. It's called not the Pando. It's called Pando, and it's also known as the trembling giant. And what this is it's one giant tree that grows through the roots. So the roots grow out, and then a tree pops up, and then the roots grow, and a tree pops up. So it doesn't drop seeds and trees grow. This is one giant organism, and I'm pretty sure it is the largest living organism on Earth. Oh, let me get that out of there. Pando. See if they have any other pictures of it here. I guess these are pretty good. Let's see if they got one. Let's find one here that shows how big it is. Go to the images here. Let's get an overhead view. That's a pretty good one. Oh, that's a good one. Okay. All these in the yellow are the aspen. And that is what is called Pando. And it's all one giant tree. All these are clones from the original. It's a male, so it's a male tree species. And the root system grows out and grows. All these trees are growing out off the same root system. So it is not only, it's the largest living organism on Earth. And it's also the oldest living organism on Earth. And these are some estimates that this tree system, this giant living organism of trees, is at least 80,000 years old. 80,000 years old. And some estimates put it into the hundreds of thousands of years old. And one even estimated at possibly at 1 million years. So this is not only the largest living organism on Earth, it's also the oldest living organism on Earth. At least 80,000 years old. And so Dustin told me when we were talking about the target, when I was done with my sessions, that he had come across an article along these lines here. Might have even been one of these articles, but this organism is dying, and that's the article I believe he came across, and it got him thinking about that. An 80,000-year-old organism that is, or at least could, again, hundreds of thousands of years old, and how this living organism has been around since the dawn of man, and has been living alongside the human development since the dawn of man, long before recorded civilizations, even before the earliest cave drawings. So this just goes back so far back, Neanderthal and earlier. And so that got him to, he'd been thinking about this target, and that it's dying now. What's happening to it is that these trees aren't necessarily dying. What's happening is that it's not planting new ones to compensate for the aged ones. So the trees don't last forever. They continue to sprout new trees, and it lives on and on and on. But the trees that are there now, some of them are 100 years old and older, and they have a limited lifespan, and they're not regrowing new trees. One of the reasons why they are assessing why that could be, one of them is because in that forest, the natural predators there are the big cats, the mountain lions, and the other big cats, and they will balance out the deer populations and all the other plant-eating animals that are over there that are eating the sprouting trees. So they're eating them as they graze. Those are not getting eaten by the cats. It's all under the jurisdiction of the wildlife, whatever, who are the fishing, gaming, or whatever, and they have allowed for the deer population to grow because it's a hunting area. So it's a hunting area, so the amount of cats, the big cats have been kind of moved out a little bit there. The deer population grows so that there's a lot of deer for the hunters, but the deer are grazing in here and they're eating up a lot of those young baby trees. And the farmers let their cows come and graze through here too. So those are two factors that are human-based. As to why they wouldn't be growing. But is that the only answer? Is that the only answer? Now okay, so anyway, that's the target. So the target is this gigantic organism, goes by the name of Pando, or the quaking giant, and it is dying. That's the target. An 80,000 year, at least 80,000-year-old living organism. Me, I don't just believe, I feel, without a doubt, living organisms are aware. They have done studies on plants, and if someone has the intention of burning or harming a plant, the plant responds to that person's thought and the notion that it's going to come over and harm them. They're conscious. There is a consciousness within these living plant species and these living organisms. That's without a doubt in my. There's no doubt in my mind about that, and I tapped into that in these sessions. I go through the full first couple of sessions with a full debrief on my Patreon site. I'm going to go through some of the quickly some of the highlights of the first two sessions here, but the full everything will be on the Patreon. So what I was getting in the okay, so we're at September the 14th. So mid-September, Dustin sends me the target reference number and says I got everything set up for you. I said okay, so I go and I start doing the session. I'm going through my session, and what's coming into my curiosity is that there's a mystery here. There's some type of unexplainable situation. People are throwing up their hands and saying, I don't know, like something disappeared, like what's happening here. And it felt like I was dealing with an unsolved situation. And so that was the first session. I took a break and I came back because this idea of the unsolved is what was so interesting to me. And so I decided to keep going on that and see what else I could pull out from that. And so I had this person here pointing at this hill or this mound here, like this one here, that the mystery or what the answer would be found here, And I was going through some ideas here about what a riddle is and what an axiom is and that type of thing. And so this was what the first two sessions were about. There was a mystery here. There's a mystery, and people are trying to solve this mystery. And that's how this journey began. Because the Pando dying is a mystery. It is a mystery. And Dustin, I was talking to him, and he said when he was first looking at this story, what he came across were several scientific articles where there are scientists who are heavily debating this situation. They're arguing about it as to what actually is going on here. Why is this organism dying? Is it just because the deer are eating some of the saplings and the young growth? Is it just because of that? Is it soil related? Is it environmental changes? Is that the jury is still is out on why this organism is not replenishing itself. In one of the videos I watched, they were saying that these trees here are all elders. They're all elders, and they're going to die from old age, and how this organism maintains itself is just like any other species on Earth. They have older ones, and then they die. The younger ones take over, and they die. They grow old, and it's just a cycle. The cycle continues of birth and growth and death and birth and growth and death. And they're not finding that anymore in this organism. And they've noticed the changes have been going on for about 50 years now. And so that's what this target was about. Now, as far as the remote viewing sessions, I went really, really, really deep on this one as far as what I felt I had access to in regards to this organism. And it brought me into spaces of even philosophical questions about life, immortality, resurrection, trying to cheat death, all of those things, and I'll be putting those out a little bit later as well. But anyway, these were the first two sessions for this target. Of course, I'm blind, completely blind. I have no idea what the target is. But my first two sessions are tapping into that. Whatever the target is, it's a mystery that's trying to be solved, and they're pointing to this mound here, this hill here. that there's a mystery here that needs to be resolved. So that's kind of the short one. Like I say, I go through the full sessions on my Patreon. If anybody wants to check those out, check them out. This is a very interesting project. This is one of those. This is one of those why I do this activity kind of targets. I learn from remote viewing things, and remote viewing is it's even becoming it's a generic term. Um, it's a process. It's a process, and that's how I learn. That's how I learn, and that's how I access things. I access records. I access uh, ancient information and communicate with um, things. So that's it for this first one. I'll have the next ones out pretty soon, and we'll see how far down the rabbit hole I go on this one. It gets very interesting. It gets very interesting. Thanks so much for watching. Many more to come.